Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Wednesday, March 12th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲, coming to you from the Wellpoint Studios, joined this morning or today or whenever it is you're watching it by a pair of guests here in the Wellpoint Studios, both making their first appearance, and I believe both meeting for the first time.
Yes.
Right?
What can I say?
It's a day of firsts here on the Daily Pulse. Left to right on your viewing screen, Alyssa Nazzaro, who serves on the Dracut Finance Committee. She's here to talk about the upcoming Dracut Telethon, a really cool annual event that goes back, oh God, I think to when I was in school, right?
Yeah, we're in our 42nd year.
Ouch.
I know.
Yeah, I think I was a junior or senior in high school.
Let's just
when
say
it kicked off. Ouch.
I think I was a little younger. The director who started it, Bruce Hutchins, who actually passed away last year.
My former principal.
Absolute wonderful man, was my former principal as well. I graduated the last year he was principal of the high school. So.
A good friend.
Yeah,
he was a very good
He
friend.
was
man.
Yep.
an amazing man, and this truly is a legacy that he's left. Like he started something for the Dracut kids that is just persevered and really provided so many opportunities. So.
Yes, he did. So we're going to talk about this year's event and how people can contribute and check it out. Of course, to the right of your screen there is the former mayor of the city of Lowell, longtime city councilor, and even longer time educator in the city, who was the head of schools back at Lowell High School.
The old title, headmaster.
That's right. You did it so long ago that you were actually the headmaster when it was okay to say that word. Bill Samaras.
It was all right at the time, I think.
No, not anymore. Welcome. Your first appearance here on the Daily Pulse and Inside Lowell.
Good to see you.
And I'm excited to have you here. Now that you know how to get here, you figured out the map, I'm going to bring you back more often so we can dump on those serving on the city council now.
Do you see why I don't like to show up? I mean, it's a challenge.
Oh my goodness. What years were you headmaster at the high school?
From 90 to 2010.
Okay. Very nice. I was going to say, I thought you might have had my parents, but they're a little bit older.
20 years. A lot of the current leaders of the city passed
You would have had me if I had
hands.
gone to Lowell High.
That's right. You're originally from Lowell?
I am originally from Lowell, yep.
Moved out to Dracut, which is kind of what I did at a young age. And, and then came back and then left again. So.
Right? Well, I'm still there. So
yeah, well, we'll get you back sometime to talk a little bit about the finances in Dracut,
I'm
because
excited.
they are a challenge.
But I would have liked to have had records on him. I wish he did go to the high school.
Yeah, I was Bruce.
Because I would have used them.
I was Bruce Hutchins and Dan Smith's problem.
Yeah, but Bruce protected you. I gotta say.
I was in the same. I was very fortunate when I went to the Dracut schools. I ended up in 7th grade in the same level with his son, Ken Hutchins, who
that's so funny.
Lost track of Ken many years ago. But
my son's in 5th grade at the Inglesby right now, and he has his daughter, Tammy Hutchins, is his teacher.
What a small world.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's her last year teaching. So
small world. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get right to that discussion. Let me quickly thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. Of course, we start with Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, another former Dracut High product, by the way. Ray is also a certified appraiser in both of those states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, Real Estate Ray Booten is your man. You can find him online at realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at Wellpoint. Wellpoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At Wellpoint, your whole health is their whole point. We thank our friends at Wellpoint for hosting us here in the Wellpoint Studios. We thank Ray, and we got a bunch of other sponsors we're going to thank in a few moments as well. But let's get right to it. Let's start right with the telethon. Alyssa,
right.
So when is this year's event?
So it's actually a week from today. So it starts Wednesday, the 19th of March, and it goes through Friday, the 21st. It's every night from 6:30 to 8:30. You can watch it on DATV channels 8 and 22. It's filmed live at the high school, so we always love a live audience. Come on down. We have lots of entertainment we do live there, so it's great.
It's kind of like a giant variety show that stretches over 3 days, right?
It is. It's fantastic. And, and the board works so hard. We have volunteers that have been on the board since the beginning. coming on 40 years. They really work tirelessly to raise money to have, opportunities for these kids to have scholarships to go to college, because it's just such an important thing.
How many years have you been involved with it,
So
Alyssa?
this is my third.
Okay.
I had gotten introduced to it by one of our selectmen, actually, Heather Hutchins, Santiago, nominated me for the board, and I was really very excited to get involved. I'm a really big proponent for kids' education, and, working towards making sure that our schools are funded and that, we support our students. So it was a good fit for me.
How much money is typically raised over those 3 days?
So our goal right now for this year is 150,000. It's an auspicious goal. We worked really hard. We actually raised, I think we raised close to 176,000 last year. So, and last year was our in memoriam for Bruce Hutchins, who passed away. So it was a really, near and dear one for our heart.
Do you give out all that money for the year?
Most of it depends on how many students apply. So like, that's the biggest thing, is get out and apply. It's an easy scholarship to apply for. You just have to, you have to be a Dracut High student.
Yeah.
You have to do some community service with us. So you have to volunteer to help support. We have a couple events. We have a craft fair in October, and then we have the telethon in March. And, they volunteer with us. I think they have to have like 4 to 8 hours of volunteer time with us. And then they just have to fill out the application for it. And then based on merits, we award different levels of scholarships. It's really one of, I feel like, the easier scholarships to receive. And college is so expensive these days. It's really crazy. Although right now the community colleges are free, but we don't know how much longer that's going to last. So,
Well, I worked with Bruce, and the idea, we created a foundation in Lowell, as you know, and it's been very successful. Are you have you created a foundation to save some of that money in perpetuity to build up a fund reserve?
So I don't know if we have a foundation. I know that we do.
I'm just curious,
Yeah, no, I'm very new on the board, clearly 3 years out of 42, but I'm not sure about the foundation aspect of it, but we do, manage the funds to be able to provide for the children, to make sure that they have the money.
No, I think you people do a great job, and you get people to buy into it.
It's an amazing, it wasn't a 3-night event when it started, right?
No,
it was a one and done, but it just kept growing and growing. That one night couldn't contain all the different entertainment you had and all the different components.
Well, we have so many great donors and sponsors now, and it's really, everybody, the whole town gets involved. This year for our entertainment, we're going to have a couple of family feuds. We actually have the police and the fire that are going to be feuding against each other. So that's pretty cool. And, we had the superintendent and the town manager last year. So really it's a whole town event. And I love, that's what I love so much about Dracut. Large as we are, we're such a small town community, and we have that small town feel. And I love that the community is so tight knit that it comes together to really support and, help all of its members. And
it's obvious, but I think you could go the next step at some point. I really do.
Yeah, that is absolutely something that I would be interested in looking at. I like to look ahead, and I like to see how we can grow and benefit and expand in the future. So that's something I'll definitely bring back to the board. And like I said, I can't say we're not doing it now. I'm not on the finance portion of the board. I'm more into like I like to talk, so they stick me on camera all the time. They make me do all these. They're like, oh, Alyssa's like willing, she's willing to get in front of the camera. Okay, so we'll send her to all the radio shows, and I'm now going to be doing the board. So when we do the board on the telethon, I'll be on. I've graduated up to that now.
You become like the Vanna White of the Dracut.
Yeah, I know. I was
Why not?
supposed to start on the entertainment side with Glenn. And he's like, oh, I need a Vanna. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, does that mean I have to come in a ball gown? I'm like, I'll go rent the runway.
No, this thing is getting big, and you might as well. So you mentioned 3 days, and you invite people to come because you like a studio audience. So what times over Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday does the telethon take place?
It's 6:30 to 8:30, so you can come down anytime. We have live bands that come and perform to close out the show, which is great. We are also doing a $10,000 raffle. We do it every year. We limit the amount of tickets that we sell, so you can only, and I'm like referencing back to my phone because I can only remember so much information at once. So the tickets are $100 a piece. You can enter in with multiple people. So like if you want to split the ticket, you can write 2 names on it. It goes in a raffle drum, and on Friday night we pick for the winner. It's one of our best fundraisers for it. We limit the tickets, so I believe we can only have 300 tickets. So it gives you a really good chance to get it. You can enter 2 ways. You can call on the night of the event, or you can send us a PayPal, and our PayPal is paypal@dsftelethon.com. So if you send $100 through PayPal, write your name, address, information on there, we'll send a confirmation back, and your name will be entered into the raffle drum for that night. You're just going to watch live to see if you get pulled.
Right. Can you purchase more than one ticket?
You can absolutely purchase more than one ticket, and we
right.
strongly recommend it.
That's right. All you wealthy Dracut-ians out there.
Right?
And by the way, you don't have to be from Dracut to purchase the tickets,
No, you
right?
don't. You can be
Lowellians
from
can
anywhere.
jump
Oh
in
my
there and
goodness.
help.
We have so many great auction items, like, and everything is online now. So we actually have an auction site. So you don't even need to be watching us. We did the auction site. We started it last year to expand, to be able to allow people who weren't in the town of Dracut, that didn't have Dracut Access Television, to be able to bid and win on some of our auction items. Because, we have a lot of alumni that have traveled all over the country. So, we have people that are out in California and, out of the country and wherever. This gives them an opportunity that they may have been scholarship recipients in the past to give back, to the future kids. So our online auction site is www.dsfbid.org. It is not live yet, but it will be live probably a couple days before the event. And during all 3 days of the event, you can go on and preview the auction items that are available that night. We have some fantastic items that are going to be up for bid. I'll read a couple of them off for you. We have some Boston Red Sox tickets that are going to be available. We have tickets to the Leanne Rimes, One Night of Queen at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, Happy Together Tour, ABBA. We have tickets to Blue Man Group. We have aquarium passes. We have round of golf. We have a golf professional who offers a free lesson. So, which is really a fantastic deal at the Indian Ridge Country Club.
Is it still David Lane out there, or no? I'm showing my age, I think.
You know what? I don't know who the head professional is, but the professional is actually Bob Jacobs, who offers it. And it's, he's fantastic. It's a free lesson, and the course is beautiful. So,
sure is.
It's a great place to go down. We have dance classes that are offered. I personally go in for the dance classes and the toe tap and tight gift cards. I think I won that one last year for my daughter because, dance is expensive. Market basket gift cards, all sorts of restaurants donate. We have some great Boston Bruins tickets, and we have some packages for a hotel in Boston and dinner night out. So one night and dinner out, and
so a little something for everyone.
Little something for everyone.
A little of everything.
Yeah, we've got prom packages we put together, so you can get limo, tux, pictures and flowers. We put all sorts of things together. And for the people that are in Dracut, we do offer tickets for the events. So if you're in the middle school or the elementary school, the graduation events, we get premium tickets for the graduation events, which is really nice. So
all right, so a lot of great stuff going on. Who are I know you don't raise $176,000. It's nice people bidding and kind of getting in and making some individual contributions, but without the largesse of some big benefactors and local businesses, you don't get to $176,000.
Yeah, we have a lot of really great sponsors that donate that we will showcase on our show throughout the 3 days. We have a lot of support from the surrounding communities. People have been really generous in helping us to raise the funds that we need. All right. For this event.
Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Again, the dates March 12th, 13, and 14.
Nope, 19th, 20th, 21st. Today's the 12th. Oh my 19, God. 20, I'm like, so here we go. Next Wednesday.
What are you doing here?
I got to run out of here. Next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yep, it's going to be fabulous. So.
All right. The Dracut Telethon, great event, fun event. I used to watch it often when I was living there, but now you can now watch it. You can stream on your computer, right? The Dracut Public Access.
Yes, Dracut Public Access. You can watch it live off of your computer. We're on Facebook. They have their website, the DATV website. You can stream it right off of there, which is awesome. They're great. They they volunteer all of their time. They come in and they make it such a professional show. It's really, we can't say enough about all the support we get for it.
Great time. We're going to keep Alyssa Nazzaro here because we're going to drag her into the Lowell discussion with former Lowell Mayor Bill Samaras. Let me quickly remind you, you're watching the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. It's Wednesday, March 12th. That's when we recorded it. When you're watching it, who knows, or listening to it as an audio download. As we like to say here at Inside Lowell, we provide news, information, and sometimes even entertainment on your schedule, not ours. Thank you to our Daily Pulse sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. Find him online at realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you as well to our friends at Wellpoint. At Wellpoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank with branches in Lowell and in Dracut. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI, and they too have properties in Lowell and in Dracut. See how these two towns are married together? And it has nothing to do with me either. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and southern New Hampshire since 1925. That's a century, folks. Great institution here in our city, and even better family behind the scenes. I'm dying to get them here to tell you a little bit about the work they're doing behind the scenes and have done throughout their entire legacy. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, insuring your most valuable assets since 1982. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Their 2025 season opener just 9 days away, March 21st, at the Tsongas Center. We continue with Alyssa Nazzaro, Dracut Finance Committee member, ran for school committee at one point, but you were lucky enough not to get elected, so you don't have to deal.
No, I'm totally happy being on the finance committee. I'm actually the chair of the finance committee right now, and it's been a great experience.
All right.
So
we're going to bring you back because we want to talk a little bit about Dracut's finances going forward. Bill Samaras, former Lowell Mayor, longtime city councilor, longtime headmaster at Lowell High School, is here. And last night, the Lowell City Council got together. A couple of interesting things there that I want to pick your brain about as someone who served on that council.
The thing is, I had to pick part of it because Comcast didn't deliver it to my house.
I do not even go to Comcast, Xfinity, or whatever they call them. So I go to YouTube. The Lowell Telemedia YouTube stream is reliable and never cuts out. Yeah. It's the only way to watch those council meetings. Because Xfinity will cut
there's
out.
a lot of information that comes out of those meetings. So it's a lot of people, our citizens, they like it. They like the program because that's where you get your information.
It's the best entertainment around. And last night, in an interesting little twist, the Smith-Baker Center got a stay of execution. It's not going to get demolished yet. That's still lurking, but they're going to give it one last shot to try to save it. I think, forget the new cat lounge in the city of Lowell downtown.
Oh, I saw that.
The Smith-Baker Center should become a cat lounge because that damn thing has 9 freaking lives.
Is it right across the street from the library?
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. When I was in junior high school, we had our school play there. I will never forget at the Baker Center.
We used to do our Greek school, Greek Independence Day programs there every year.
But when the national park became a reality, Pat Morgan led that fight, but he also led the fight for the Smith-Baker Center, and that was very, very important to him. So the Smith-Baker Center has had many lives. Being an elected official, the one thing, none of us wanted to destroy it because it's part of the history of the city. And the way Pat had described it, people have to see the type of plans of how it could be a very useful part of city life. But the thing is, it's been so long. We're at the point where no one can save it unless somebody with a lot of money came in and it was a charity move. But the city just doesn't have the type of funds.
How would you have voted on that if you were sitting on that council, which you did right up until...
Well, I was pushing when I made motions to push to sell it or to give it away, because the issue was, it's not important to make any money. The important thing was to rebuild it. So the thing is, we thought we had the CBA being able to take that over, and for a short period of time, it looked like pieces were coming together, but the finances just never materialized. So what's happened was, I'd be in the position today where I'd finally have to say, you know what, we can't do it any longer.
So you would have voted as the council did back in January to demolish it.
At this point.
What about last
reluctantly.
What about last night when Councillor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 brought the issue back up because he had spoken to a couple of folks, a couple of constituents, and they had a plan for it, and they just wanted to take a tour of it just to see what they were really getting into, and that became a whole proper procedures and following city charters.
But the thing is, if anybody didn't think that was going to happen, they're foolish, okay? Because the thing is, when you there's certain votes you take. You know, people come in and, why did you do that? Because all of a sudden they wake up to the point that, you know, we might be losing something. And we are losing something of value to the city. But so the thing is, I don't see anything wrong with that. That happens.
It went from a 6-2 vote to demolish in January, if I remember. Somebody had to recuse themselves, plus other councillors went there, to a 9-2 vote last night to rescind that vote and try one last gasp.
Why not?
As it was described.
So what are they going to do? What are they planning to do with the building?
Well, so there's a group that's interested in purchasing it, and thank you for asking. It was a good chance to give kind of this background of it. But there's a group that wants to go in and take a look. They call themselves the Save Smith Baker Committee, SBC or SSBC or whatever, and they want to get a look at it. They have a plan to turn it into some kind of a performance venue, other things. They had talked about maybe even putting a Cambodian history or Southeast Asian history museum in there. So they've got some plans, but they say they can't get any financing.
But we talked about the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 Museum.
Jack Kerouac also was one of the previous incarnations.
So there's a certain part of history that we have in Lowell that would be suitable for or perfect for.
Right.
And it just failed at this particular
But structurally, is the building capable of
housing
anything like that without a significant financial?
No.
Yeah. So before the engineering, before
You're talking
they took that vote,
12 to 15 million.
they brought in an engineering firm, Gale Engineering, which did a report, and it talked about just needing maybe like 3 or 4 million just to shore it up so you don't have things falling off and posing a public danger.
But reality at the time, CBA was over
20 million.
Yeah,
right, in
now
CBA, and that was back in 2019.
And now you're looking at prices that are going to be triple that.
Right. So, you know, that's my question to the group trying to save it. And it was kind of touched on last night. It's like, where do you find the funding?
You know what happens, though, sometimes? Come on. We work together, but we might be competitive or what have you. So you're responsible for it. But I'm going to say, well, did you think of this? And all of a sudden I get a group together and saying, well, we thought of this, that they haven't. We've tried everything. Yeah. But this new group says they have some ideas. Why not? There might be something.
That's why I'm not so sure. I say a temporary stay of execution because who knows? Like, you know, again, the hard part is going to be where is that money going to come from? And the city council doesn't want to wait a long term for people to raise that money.
Well,
the point is, the building is failing, and you have tile falling from the roof and things like that. Somebody could get hurt.
It becomes a liability.
It is a liability, you know, and we've come to realize that, and that has to be brought into major consideration. And that's why the city council is, you know, where they could have taken time if there was no, we'll say, obvious liability, but there is, you know, somebody could go in there. You know, some of the street people, it could burn down. You know, there's so many.
Cause damage.
Yeah.
Other places on not so much itself.
Yeah.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about the politics behind this, though, and I'd love your thoughts as somebody who was looking to serve at one point. Is there a run in the future, by the way, Alyssa?
Possibly. Maybe not necessarily for the school committee.
Okay. All right. There's a little hint. But there was a little dust up last night, and there had been leading up to last night on social media about quote unquote changing your vote. Councillor John 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲, who brought up the motion
Yeah.
to tear it down in January, also brought up the motion to rescind that vote and caught some heat. And then at one point during the meeting, Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 kind of alluded to changing your vote. Surprisingly, it wasn't John Dakota who took exception to that. It was longtime Councilor Rita Mercier, who was like, yeah, I'm changing my vote. I've changed my mind many times, she said. And then she pointed out instances where others have changed their mind as well. It does happen, right?
It happens, but the issue is, I don't think Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 gets any award for that in a sense of, because he can harm himself. Because the thing is, there are people that don't want it torn down, so they see a chance for possibility of revival. So the thing is, he could lose those votes. While you could say, well, Councilor Dakota can lose votes because he couldn't make up his mind. That's not that big. I mean, sometimes as councilors, we have to be careful. We don't get into little fighting contests on something that's kind of silly, that really can slap back at you in a way that
Did you ever change
you
your
don't
vote?
win. Yes.
Did you change your vote?
Yeah.
While you were on the council? How do you look at, as somebody from the outside, how do you look at a politician who votes one way or says, I'm going to vote one way, and then changes their mind?
It depends on the impetus behind it. So I can't say that I've ever made a decision that I haven't been wrong about, and with future thought haven't changed my mind about it. Or if you get brought a new piece of information that kind of impacts the decision that you made, I think it's very viable to change your vote, but there has to be a reason behind it, and it has to be a solid reason for me that is to the benefit of my town or city, not so much to me personally. Because when I look politically at something, I'm looking at, like, how is this going to impact the city? How is it going to impact, our finances? How is it going to impact, our liability and all the different aspects of it? And if new information comes forward, or someone, comes forward and says, oh, no, I can do this, I have a plan, we can save this. And when ultimately, I think in an instance where you have a historical building in Lowell, like I'm a very big history buff, and I am all for preserving things of value in history in our cities and towns, but you need to have a viable plan for it. And if you can't, and it's a liability, you have to make a decision based on what's best for that structure and best for the overall community.
But for his question, the issue of changing a vote over this housing is not an issue that anybody should be worried about. Okay, if you change your vote on housing, certain things like that, where there's been a lot of work. I have never changed on a really, we'll say, serious matter that I've hopefully put the right type of effort in to acknowledging what the problem is. But the thing is, that's where it can be harmful if you make a major shift.
Absolutely.
The idea of the center is not a major shift.
Well, I think everybody wants the center to stay, and if they have an opportunity to have it stay and it can be viable, I would see changing my vote for that. But it has to be.
But for something that deals with the life of the city, you're in trouble.
Votes have changed many times in the city, for the record.
But people have
the ADU votes. If you remember last summer's jihad, as I call it, holy war.
And the
summer and a half ago.
And the reasons given. I mean,
Yeah, when your neighborhood meets and organizes, you know the politics in the city of Lowell change. I'm not done with you yet.
I mean, if anybody didn't know that, I mean, that was going to happen. I mean, my God, it's.
Well, I do have a question though. Okay, but why hasn't that neighborhood organized very vocally against their state representatives, their state senators, and the governor for that matter, who basically took the issue that Lowell almost went to a holy war over, ADUs one summer, and then they forced it down everybody's throat anyway from the State House. And suddenly, no, there's no meetings being organized. Nobody cares. Well, if you're going to fight for something, then fight for it.
Yeah, because that's too big.
Never too big. You can't let the governor get away with that.
Well, I understand, but the thing is, it's not that type of fight. I mean, because there are people in the city of Lowell who don't vote for city councilors, but they'll fight for who's going to be governor in the state. But it's a limited group. But for this particular vote, it was just, this is my house, my area. That's all I'm concerned about.
Neighborhood issues. They
Neighborhood
rule
issues.
the day.
Yeah.
One other thing last night that caught a lot of people's attentions, but unfortunately was done in executive session, and that was another executive session to discuss the Lupoli Hamilton Canal Innovation District development, lack of development, altered development, so many different parts. We don't know yet what exactly is going on behind the scenes. My hunch is there's some kind of negotiation to just buy him out and get him out of there. But you were on the city council that approved it with manager Eileen Donahue, her negotiations with him to give him all these parcels of land.
Correct.
And he made certain promises.
Yep.
And the only one he kept so far was he built that parking garage.
Correct.
The other promises, he decided to redesign the plan.
That's right.
And the city council has said no. So a lot of folks thought it will be easy. Tell them, well, no, we don't like your new plan, you're out.
And I would have voted against the new plan myself.
So why are we still dealing with this? He hasn't kept up his end of the bargain. What's in that contract that is giving him the footing to dig in a little bit and say, I'm not budging?
Let's put it this way. I don't recall all of the exact rulings in the contract, but it's strong.
You're not an executive session. You can spill the beans.
I know.
Come on. The manager won't get mad at you, I promise.
It's a strong contract. Okay.
Strong for who? For the city or for Lupoli?
For both sides. Really, for both sides. So the thing is, and both sides have strength. Well, if you're negotiating with Lupoli, you're not negotiating with somebody that, well, you know what I mean, will argue over it for about an hour and that's it. I mean, he is very used to having his own way. Okay? Simply put. As he demonstrates every time he comes in front of the council over this, he does not budge an inch. No, but the thing is, at some point, I think the way they're dealing with it, he's going to have to make up his mind whether he's going to do it the way he committed. He's going to commit to the plans he made. I think the city council should stay with that. It's very easy to say, you know what? We can't win. He just wants to build a building. Let him build that building, and it's okay. Let's put it this way. You and I would like to build that building because we could get the money to build a 5-story building for rental, market rate rental for property and be successful. We could do it now.
But he promised a 13-story office tower. Right. I always assumed that there was going to be like a little middle ground there, that the magic number was 8 to 10 floors of some type of mixed-use development. He hasn't gone.
That could change. I mean, yes, those are negotiable things, okay? But not a complete abandonment of the approach that was going to be used. But it's valuable property.
There is a school of thought out there. Well, he didn't live up to his end of the bargain. Let's kick him out. Let's do something else with that property. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
He bought that property, right? Basically. So while you can not approve his design on it, you can't just have somebody else come in unless they're going to
the wording of the contract.
Value,
the wording of the contract gives him the right to negotiate the way he's negotiating.
Okay,
and the wording in the contract gives the city the right to negotiate the way they negotiate.
So the contract did have a stipulation if the promises weren't met, if conditions changed or whatever, that there's an out for both parties, but you can't just kick them out, as some folks have said. It's time to give Lupoli the boot.
They both have to fail safe.
No.
He's not dumb enough to enter into that kind of a contract.
But at the end, the one thing he doesn't want to do is have a lawsuit from the city or have to file a major lawsuit against the city, because nobody wins in that, because now you're Haverhill and he wants to come into Haverhill. Haverhill City Council is going to say, wait a second, what are you doing in Lowell?
Well, he already has. He built a beautiful 8-story steel and glass tower that's modern. Great restaurant on the first floor, rooftop bar. When I saw that building, I did a story on it. If you go back and look at InsideLowell.com, I'm like, why isn't Lowell good enough for this now?
The minute I said Haverhill, I said, geez.
But that's, if you're a Lowell City Council, I showed that photo and that story to a bunch of people. They're like, Yeah, we should hold out for something.
But
like
that's
this.
that's the point. They're holding out for that, and that's made a difference in April.
Yes, it would be nice to see. On a bigger issue, executive session.
Yeah.
They've been in executive session with Sal every week, I think, for the last 3 weeks, or over Sal, at least a half dozen times, I believe, since the new year or the holidays. Is executive session overused? Why can't this discussion be had in public?
It satisfied no one. I mean,
It satisfied me, and everybody wants to read about it. Would it satisfy you as an outsider looking in?
It would, but
it'd make negotiations impossible.
Yeah. Then you're negotiating in the public. Then you have public opinion that's influencing. You know, you can't. It makes it very difficult to say things you really want to say and really get down and work hard at meeting, goals when you have everybody else kind of putting their opinion.
You government types.
But there are certain types of information that just comes up that it's not suitable to be released at this point.
All right. I want to switch gears. I want to kind of get your thoughts on some of the developments, because part of your time as a city councilor and as mayor was that Hamilton Canal Innovation District, developing it, but also the growth of the university, which many people saw as a negative. And I'll freely admit, I was one of them. Not that the university growing was bad, but I thought it was taking away from the city and its chances at economic development. And now I've flipped to realize the only chance for the city's economic development might be that university.
The Link project.
So.
The Link project. $800 million development, $600 million of which is private investment. Jobs, good paying jobs that will hopefully keep graduates in Lowell instead of them going somewhere else in Massachusetts or to other parts of the country. Housing that they can live at while they're working.
It's a concept that will work in today's market.
So before I dump on you when we get to the high school disaster in a couple of minutes, I want to praise you for having the foresight, because it's not just this city council that deserves praise for Link, not just this city manager that deserves praise for Link, although they all deserve it, but you guys did a lot of the infrastructure. You served on that council, 10 years, right?
Yeah, 8.
8, okay, 2013 to 2021, yes. So you served on that council, and you put a lot of the things in place that allowed for the Link, but also now this front runner city that we're hearing about it. And I'm told that at that meeting in Toronto, that's still somewhat secretive, that they were presented a checklist of items that these folks were looking at before they invested billions of dollars in the city of Lowell. And I'm told that everybody looked around and said, well, that's easy. We've done all but one of them had already been done, and they were done. That infrastructure was put in place by councils like yours.
Well, I got good information. Mayor Rourke did a great job just pointing out what the city had committed itself to and had done, and it was a step. It was actually almost like a step-by-step process of what they were looking for, and yet his presentation was, I'll present what we have. But the thing is, we have taken a step-by-step approach. I mean, we've had some pretty good management, and we've made some pretty good steps. As some people say no, but I think as a city, we've positioned ourselves for the future, and that's what's important.
And I'm also told
that's very important.
That university was a big part of what the front runner.
Major.
Once they heard about Link, and I was told one anecdote where when the 7 city councilors and the Golden administration was up there, they talked about Link, and everyone was, that's impressive. Like, do you think you can connect us with the chancellor and the university president?
Yeah.
And all the councilors kind of pulled out their phones and here's our tech.
Yeah.
But here's these international global business people who are doing projects with the United Nations and all their spin-off arms. And they said, really? You guys can just text and call back and forth with the chancellor and the university president?
Well,
we don't see that everywhere else.
Well, the thing is, when we went to Kalamata, Greece, part of the exchange with Lowell. Kalamata had a $100 million project from the European market, like this project, from Canada, and that's turning Kalamata around at this particular point in Greece, and this is the same purpose for this group.
Interesting. You were not
was just
surprised
saying-
about the relationship, or are you surprised to know that they're that close?
I mean, well, I'm a Riverhawk, so I'm a little biased, but UMass Lowell has really, we've always been a premier school for engineering and nursing, but our business program has really been developing specifically in the last decade, where they want us to be on par with Wharton. So I think they're working and striving really hard towards that, but Lowell is I feel like Dracut, it's a very tight-knit community and very close and, friendly, and they're willing to reach out.
And there's going to be some spin-off for Dracut from Link, because the Link footprint right along the river between Lelatcher Park and the Sangha Center.
Right on the border.
For people who are looking for housing and whatnot, you just go across that river and suddenly you're into Dracut. So there's going to be some spin-off there.
It's a good opportunity.
So I got a question for you. Is Dracut at all exploring the idea of capitalizing on some of that business growth? Because Dracut has this thing that 95% of your tax base is residential, or 92, whatever that number is.
So we have a really opportunistic tax rate for businesses coming to Dracut. So
you're going to try to steal businesses from Lowell?
Oh, I'm not going to steal businesses from Lowell. No, but I think that
Bill's not going to let it happen.
No, but I mean, it's
We'll let that secret out.
right. No, I think, any opportunity, it's great to partner and be able to grow on both sides of the river. So,
Well, I'll give you an example, though. When I was mayor, I was at a meeting with Mayor Walsh of Boston, and we were talking about business and what have you. And the issue was there were certain businesses that wanted to come into Boston that just couldn't afford to make that step. And he said, I'll be glad to help you do that. And it's the same way Lowell and Dracut should work, because there are certain companies that need more land,
what's available.
for the development that Lowell doesn't have.
Yeah. And they also sometimes need things off the beaten path. I'm told a lot of these companies are working in some really high-level defense technology type things. And it's nice as it is to have this footprint where college students are intermingling and having. They don't want college students walking into certain high.
But the issue is we could work together.
Yeah. It would be wonderful to see. I mean, Dracut's a good opportunity. We're very big on land preservation. We have a lot of farming community, and we like our views, but you have to have a balance between that and having economic growth and being able to support your town, and having businesses that come in that are, businesses that are more on the technical side that can house within a, building in a certain amount of land. It's a great opportunity for us, and it's a great opportunity to work with Lowell and be able to have that kind of communication and,
All right, so there's some collaboration. We'll let Dracut have some of the residential spin-off, right? We want that commercial tax base here in Lowell, and if not, Lowell they should come to Chelmsford, because my taxes ain't going down in Chelmsford either. Before we let both of you go, we talked about changing your mind on issues. You very famously changed your mind on what would be an ideal place for Lowell High School.
Well, I never changed my mind.
Well, you had raved about the potential of the Lawrence High School, and you never changed your vote, but you did think that Lowell High originally should go to Colley Stadium after you saw what Lawrence did.
When Lawrence had the high school, built the high school, I looked at the possibility of us going out to Colley Stadium, because it seemed like a logical thing at the time for the fields and what have you. Once that idea was talked about, I did a lot of research, and actually the city department, planning department, helped me with a lot of research, and I found communities similar to Lowell that had the same problem. And there was one community in Illinois that they voted, and they did put it in the suburbs, and it's been all held since that time. But the issue is, Lowell being downtown is a level playing field for every student, every district in the city. And as a principal, I liked the idea of going out to Colley Stadium. having it fenced in.
You got them all contained.
Yeah,
In one
all
spot,
contained.
they get on and off the buses. They don't
and
have the freedom
Put my
do what kids do.
Put my hat on as king, and it's all mine. Okay, but the issue was that for especially disadvantaged students, this played out poorly for them. And as an educator, I had to make that choice. And the thing is, I made that choice, and I'm glad I made that choice. In the long run, it's going to work out to be very successful for the city. I know there are people who still, want to do things on my grave.
So, given the now publicized construction projects that,
Yep.
I'm going to let me just pat myself on the back a little bit,
Yep.
that many of us predicted were going to happen. You were going to start to have foundational issues when you
Yep.
rehab the old buildings. I told you, I don't think all the asbestos was gone. You said, oh no, it was all done in the 1980 renovation.
Well, it should have been. I mean, because they took a lot of money out of my budget.
But as you know all that, and now
Yeah.
the price tag is approaching $400 million.
Yeah.
You still haven't changed your mind and thought it was a good idea.
No,
All right.
because it would have been the same cost plus out at College Stadium, unfortunately.
Well, we'll never know, unfortunately, because the vote.
I'll tell you what I would like to have. What I'd like to do is have a major debate in that and research on both sides all the things that would have to do to make the high schools work on both sides, and then
Where there's a will, there's a way. There was a will to make it happen downtown, and here we are, $400 million later. But I do want to ask that though, because whatever that decision was made in 2017, it was made. It's done.
Yeah.
We now, the focus should be on building the best school for the
Correct.
students. And I was heartened when the city manager sat in that chair and said, yeah, we're going to get it. We're going to find a way to pay for it, whether we have to do it ourselves or whether we can beg, borrow, and steal money from somewhere else. But the project needs to be done right now so that we're not doing this again in 20 years. But that said, you gave assurances that this work was done in 1980 and money was budgeted in 1980 for it. Why wasn't that work done?
the thing is, I had the report from George Samaras, and we spent a lot of money doing that. And the issue was, it should have been there. I have no knowledge of why it wasn't there. Because the problem with the floor, it's an automatic. If there's anything that's going to be checked, it would be the floor. And I was told by Central. I was told by Central. Don't forget, I didn't have access to all the plans of it. I was through the superintendent's office, and I was told everything was checked out. And they showed me plans, and they showed me the organization and what issues were handled, how they were handled, what changes were made, because
Who did the construction back then?
Suffolk.
It was Suffolk who did it back in 1980 as well?
Yeah.
So they're still in business.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just.
But
city solicitor has nothing better to do.
No,
Throw it out there.
Put it out there.
My concern is with the architectural firm we had back there. Then there was some
Who was
issues.
the architect back then?
I'm trying to think. It's Spurgeoff,
Are they still in business? Can we sue
one
them?
of the biggest in the country.
All right, let's go after them too.
I would love to.
Because if they build
Fund the rest of the school.
No.
Yeah, if they build for certain things, because this is going to be a cost
Yeah.
overrun. We'll know how much next month, but it stinks that taxpayers are going to get stuck with that.
There was a major problem there.
It's also very unfortunate timing. I mean, this is pretty much the worst time to have any kind of construction costs and, especially issues. I mean, you're
No,
Well, that's why this project would have
how
started
about-
in 2018
No,
and
no.
done in 2021.
How would you like to walk?
Great.
How would you like to walk into your new library with all elementary furniture
right.
that could not be used? Okay, and we had to get old furniture from around the system. I couldn't get any.
That was in 1980.
Yeah, that's what I walked into.
That was
Things like that.
That project was a disaster. I fear this one is going to put us in the same boat where in
No,
20 years.
I think the final product is going to be what you want.
All right.
One
Let's
can
hope so.
hope. We're just starting in Dracut, not on the level of high school, but our elementary school. We're starting a project with the state where we're in plans whether we're going to stay in the same location or build new somewhere else, or renovate where we are and expand. And so we're in the beginning of this
but
stage
Do the
where
new build.
But
Do
but,
the
but
new
no
build.
but this project here will correct some unfortunate issues of the past. But the thing is, new building versus old building, we're still in the right place for the students.
And Dracut actually did do an addition and renovation on the existing footprint of where I went to high
They
school.
did.
I was actually in the gym for a JV basketball game.
I was there this weekend.
Well, really?
Yeah.
And that's not the same. My
No.
wife kept saying, "Is this the gym that you
No.
went to?" I'm like, "No, the gym I went to.
The
you
gym is
literally-
now a common.
You do a layup and run into the
Yes.
wall."
Yes.
So that
a
old
brand
gym
new.
is now.
It's now a student common, so it's almost
Okay.
like I wouldn't say it's a library, but it's like a common area
Common
with
space,
tables.
yeah,
They do a lot
okay.
of stuff in it. Yeah, we've had a few. If you want to see it, you can watch a couple of our tri-board meetings. They took place in there.
So Dracut did that.
Yeah.
Did their renovation on site.
They did. You know, and then we built.
Run into problems.
You know, that was before my time. I'm sure we did. Not as many as I think that Lowell High is running into, but you know, we built a brand new junior high from scratch, and we're starting to hit capacity at that now too. So we're running into a lot of capacity issues in Dracut.
Really?
Yeah, with some of our lower schools, and that's
Rapid residential.
yeah, and that's impacting a lot of you know, the discussion with the new elementary school, because we're going to be combining both the Campbell and the Greenmont, two schools together. You know, where we build it, how much we expand it, the capacity, and then also
Wait, you're gonna close the Greenmont School? Maybe.
maybe closing the Greenmont. Well, the grant we got from the state would be having the Greenmont and the Campbell move together, because the Greenmont school is so old. I mean, it is
Yeah, and then they
absolutely
put those permanent type modulars there. as
ancient.
well.
Yeah. Well, you have those at all of our elementary schools, unfortunately, because again, capacity. But the building's just, I mean, it's small, it's old, it's not really feasible as a school anymore.
I grew up on Thistle
Yeah.
Street. Right
No,
down.
you're right there,
Walk out
so-
the front door of the Greenmont, roll down the hill, and you'd see.
Yeah,
me
you
playing
know,
in the
so
yard.
it would be a great opportunity. They would still be two separate schools, just housed within the same building. And, you know, but that also speaks to a lot of, you know, the MBTA and all these other things that are going on. And, you know, we got a lot to talk about Dracut.
Yes, we do. So that's setting us up for a return date
Future
with
discussion.
you, Alyssa Nazzaro. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us one more time. Dracut Telethon.
Dracut Telethon, a week from today, March 19th through the 21st. You can watch it on DATV, or you can watch it on DATV Live, channels 8 and I think it was 22, or you can stream it. What is it? DATV.org. Let me get the
Yeah, just
site.
quick Google search will find it, right?
I know. Quick Google search will find us. You can go to www.dsfbid.org during the 19th to the 21st. See all of our auction items. Come bid. $10,000 raffle. You can call in the night of the event. Send PayPal if you want to get in on that raffle ticket. It's a great opportunity. And like I said, we have a lot of great sponsors, a lot of great donations for auction items. It's a great event to help support our kids.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to make this a regular occurrence. What are you doing on
We're gonna
Wednesday
do-
mornings?
Nothing.
He's here.
Nothing else.
He's going to be here.
You want to come in and take abuse from me. I promise we won't talk about the high
I
school.
look forward to that.
We won't talk about the high school until the next disaster befalls that project.
Always did. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And again, you know, I hope you're enjoying your political retirement for now. I hope you're enjoying your new media career.
Are you ever politically retired?
You never.
No.
You're always there.
But I look forward to your insights.
Life's been interesting.
It's always interesting to hear from somebody who served on the council
Because-
and is at a little bit more liberty to talk about things.
Well, we left out what was interesting last night is Councilor 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 challenged the MBTA
the
ruling
well,
on parking.
the part which
That's
was,
a major.
which was a change in the vote. They all voted to approve those no parking requirements, and now they're
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is a ruling, but the thing is, I don't know if it's changed because when it first came in, That's what it was bringing in, and that's what I saw really making a significant change in the neighborhoods. But if you look at Boston, Boston has no parking issue. I mean, you build a 50-story building, and next to it, a 100-story building, and
Take the train in.
yeah.
I worked in Boston for 10 years. Let me tell you, trains, planes, and
because-
automobiles.
I know a ton of people that live in Boston. They don't have cars,
Yep.
and when they want it, they rent. They go down to the rental agency.
You do, or you
rent
take an
a car.
Uber.
The building and the project that brought this up is the old Heinz Tavern. If you're off literally right off the Lowell connector, and they're talking about putting 50 some odd units and a handful of parking spots, and everyone's like, well, where's everybody going to park? My question is, who the hell wants to live there if you have a car? I can't see. I think you're crazy if you depend on an automobile to want to live in that spot.
But they make everything accessible. Like, that's the greatest. You can walk to everything you need to get to, and that's what's key. That's what's key in Boston. Like, you can walk down the street and you hit everything you need. So,
You know my idea? Right across the street is that Enterprise Bank branch, and I don't know who owns that plaza. But, if Rockland Trust is going to be consolidating some service, perhaps they sell that and make a parking lot for.
Well, right
building.
now they said they're going to keep the 3 buildings.
Okay.
They've made that commitment.
All right, that's good. We don't want to lose any jobs,
No.
especially to Dracut. Just kidding. If we're going to lose them, we'll lose them to Dracut. All right. We're going to end on that note. Thank you to Alyssa Nazzaro. Thank you to Mayor Bill Samaras, former Mayor Bill Samaras. And thank all of you for tuning in on the Daily Pulse as well. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Frankie McCabe, Can I Be Frank? He's going to be pretty frank tomorrow about a lot of the things we discussed in the week leading up to his appearance. And then on Friday, Leslie Boder will join me here. We'll have a little fun on Friday. Till then, everybody stay safe, stay warm out there, and we'll catch you on the other side.